Hey everyone, this is your boy Jeff filling in for Chris today on your favorite podcast, To the Point, Home Services. We're coming to you live from Win the Storm in Dallas, Texas today. Man, I'm super excited. We've got a great show today. We're going to be talking to Todd Price from Perimeter Roofing, and let's jump right into it.
So we're based out of Atlanta, Georgia. Home offices and our corporate offices in Lawrenceville, Georgia. But we have offices all over Georgia, Nashville, Virginia, Florida, Raleigh. So pretty much the entire Southeast. Started in Atlanta, though, obviously. So that's where our home base is. That's where I live.
I love it. And you got your whole team here, so that's kind of exciting. I do, before we get started, have a super important question. Is there any part of your body that's not tattooed?
Yes, there is some unseen parts of my body that are not tattooed.
So for those of you guys, when we put this out on video, you'll be able to see, but Todd is a very scary tattooed man. But
I try to break the mold a little bit. I try to be as
different as you can.
Yes, and still be able to sell.
A big tattoo guide in roofing.
And ugly.
There you go. You got a face for radio. So let's get started. So tell us about how you got into the trades.
So honestly, I've been in the gym industry my entire life. Loved fitness. And when me and my wife, before we got married, the money just wasn't there obviously anymore, and wanted to spend more time with her, not be stuck in the gym all day long. So I wanted to start something different and kind of get off on my own. My dad had done custom building his entire life, 47 years. He built custom homes. And so I grew up around construction my entire life. And then I had a buddy while I was in the gym industry that got into roofing and kept, you need to do this. You need to do this. You'd make a killing. You'd be great at this. And it just seemed too good to be true at the time, you know? Okay. And it was before Win the Storm. It was before all these big events. It was before it really took off. And then he started sending me pictures of his checks. And I'd see like a check for $1,000 one week, and then $3,000 one week, and then $5,000, finally $28,000 one week. And I was like, all right, I got to figure out what the fuck's going on here and how I can get into this. So cold turkey, I quit the gym, told my wife or girlfriend at the time, but I think I want to get into this. It's something I can do. I know business. I know construction. I'll learn as I go, kind of fake it till I make it. Not the best advice that I would give somebody nowadays. But obviously I had to learn at a little bit quicker pace, and I did it. And, didn't make any money for 8 months to a year. My wife held it down. Thank God. She's a godsend, and made like $400 a week.
Wow.
And we didn't have anything. We were sleeping on the floor, no furniture in the living room, trying to figure out what bills to pay, what not to pay. And finally, it just paid off. So,
man, that's a really cool story. What do you think, especially transitioning from the gym to building roofs and being in the construction industry, that's a big difference. What do you think, so you talked about you guys really struggling in the beginning. What do you think put you over the top there in the beginning? When did you know you had really made it?
I knew I really made it kind of when our name became very, very prominent, and I started noticing other companies mimicking what we were doing on Facebook, social media, Instagram, whatever it may be. And that was one of the biggest things, and that set me apart because I was doing things that no other companies had done before. And we scaled fairly quick number-wise, a lot faster than a lot of other companies that have been around 10, 15 years, just because I used a completely different approach when marketing, trying to keep up with the times. Another thing, I think the gym industry, even though it took us a little while to get started just to get our name out there, I feel like the gym industry actually helped me a lot, because before I was actually having to sell a service and you were walking out the door with nothing. I was having to build this vision in your head of you're going to look like a, Victoria's Secret model or whatever it may be, paying me thousands of dollars and leaving with nothing.
Yeah.
So when it came to selling a roof or any other product or service that you actually have something tangible, it made it super simple.
Excellent. So you mentioned before starting to set yourself apart and doing other things. Tell me a little bit about that. Take me back. How did you start to differentiate Perimeter Roofing to your competitors?
So obviously, besides just the marketing aspect and the way we were getting out there, the biggest thing that I would say out of all the things that we did was I actually have a nonprofit 501c3 called Perimeter Cares. And we've done a variety of different things giving back to the community. One of the biggest things which actually ended when COVID hit. So we've done different things since then, but was we went around paying off school lunch debt. So if kids have go 5 days without paying a lunch, they get in a hole of $11.25, I think what it is, and they can't have a hot lunch. So they'll go through the whole line, they'll get a hot lunch, when they get to the line to pay, they'll throw it away and give them a sack lunch and a water. So for me, I don't think that's fair no matter what the situation is at home. So we wanted to give back, and so we did about 96 schools, I think it was, before COVID hit that year, and a little bit over 100,000 that we had donated to these schools to pay off. And so since then, we've done different things each month, whether it's book bag drives or giving back to, hospitals or different foundations in the community, because they're our customers. They're the ones that are living and around us. We want to help them, and then we want them to know where their money's going. We're not just padding our pockets. We want them to know we're giving back and we care.
Man, I really love that. This is To The Point Home Services podcast. We also run our Strategic Solutions, digital marketing company. And with our company, we are totally into giving back, right? So being in the community, whether it's packing lunches, packing food for people that would never eat otherwise, like not that are hungry, but they would never eat. We're also, Rhino's getting ready to do a home build in Mexico. So we actually go with the family and help build homes. So I think that's super cool, giving back. Does that extend to employees? Do they really get into it as well?
Absolutely. So when we first started, I was kind of going school to school and presenting these checks, and we'd have a big check and take pictures with the staff, and they loved it. It was super exciting to them. And then it got to the point where the guys wanted to go too and get in the pictures and see the kids and be excited. But now we've actually done, we just partnered with another company called Sleep in Heavenly Peace, which is another nonprofit, to where they actually build beds for people, for kids that don't have beds. And then we deliver those beds. So the back of our warehouse that we weren't using at all, we allowed them to come in, move all their stuff. So we have build days. The entire team will come out, we build these beds. Then we'll have delivery days where we load up all these beds into all of our trucks and we deliver them to certain homes where these kids are you'll have 1, 2, 3 kids sleeping in a house, and they're all sleeping on just pillows or on the floor. They don't have a bed. So we find out a little bit of information about the family, about the kids, what they like. They like dinosaurs, they like, Barbies, whatever. We get the sheets, the pillows, everything to cover it. So we completely build their bed, deliver it, make it, everything. So it's super exciting for them to get a new bed and actually have a place to lay their head.
Man, that's badass. We have a term, what we call service days at our company. So once a month, we go out and serve the community, whatever it might be. Again, packing lunches. We went to a pig farm a couple weeks ago, shoveled, pig poop.
Yeah.
But we're always looking for nonprofits, right, to help serve the community. And we really believe that as a company, if we can help serve other people, then we'll be able to serve our clients. So
that goes for anything, business or anything.
Yeah.
The more people you help, the more people you're going to have to help you.
So anybody that happens to hear this that are in the communities that Perimeter Roofing serves, and you could help them help other people, I would highly suggest giving back. So, man, that's super cool. Like, you're not just like this big roofer, like you actually care. Yeah, I love it, man.
I'm a big teddy bear, brother.
You're a big teddy bear. I don't know if your team believes that, but so
I pick on them sometimes.
You pick on them sometimes? Yeah. Let's shift gears a little bit. So talk to me about the best way that you guys have attracted customers to your business.
I think a lot of the giving back has obviously helped. Another thing is just the quality and going above and beyond in what we do. For us, it's not just about, hey, let us sell you a roof or let us get insurance to buy you a roof or whatever the situation may be. We walk you through the entire process. We want you to be 100% comfortable with the entire process, down to the point where even when the roof is done, we're doing a complete walk around with you inside and out to make sure that nothing has been damaged. You're 100% satisfied. And customer service is everything. And I feel like a lot of people, they'll close a job and then they forget about the customer. And that's where a lot of companies lack. And here we want you to experience that same customer service from start to finish.
I love that. I think we're aligned the exact same way, because I really believe that, to your point, it's easy to get somebody to sign a contract for a roof or digital marketing or a vacation, but it's after the fact. Like, how do you serve that customer after the fact? And you guys probably talk to thousands of homeowners in the markets that you're in every single year, but that homeowner is only going to talk to one roofing company. So it's important that you treat them, with respect and follow up. So I really like that. From a digital marketing standpoint, how have you guys attracted customers?
So honestly, majority of our customers, I would say probably 95% of our business comes from Facebook digitally or from realtors on Facebook. So we work with, obviously we get referrals off Facebook, but then we work with a ton of realtors. We're actually the preferred roofer for the top 500 realtors in Atlanta and then also in Nashville.
Okay.
So we go to all their events. I speak at all their events. And then essentially what we do, we like to work a little bit backwards compared to how most realtors might work. But a lot of times, especially if you have a house that you're listing, you get a buyer on the hook. Two main things that are normally like a red flag are going to be your HVAC and your roof. And no matter how big or small it is, somebody hears roof and they completely freak out and think they're going to have to replace the whole roof. So we always tell our agents, hey, let us do a pre-listing inspection. So before you even list this house, let us inspect it. If there's a nail pop, there's an exposed nail, a missing shingle, let us just fix it real fast for free, because we know we're going to get our return later on. Let us fix it for free so you have one less thing to worry about when that home inspector comes out and you don't lose that buyer. Or if the roof does need to be replaced, let us get it replaced either out of pocket or through insurance. So that way, when you do list the house, same thing. It's one less thing that you got to worry about. We get to put a new roof on the house for you. Commission goes up. The cost of the house goes up. Homeowner makes more money. The realtor makes more money. So it's a win-win all the way around.
So it goes back to service. You guys
100%.
are serving those realtors, even when it might not be directly beneficial to your company.
100%.
Right? But you want to be there for them. You want to be a resource, and they know when they can call you, they can count on Perimeter Roofing.
We'll have realtors that'll call us, today's Monday, and say, hey, we're in due diligence and I've got to get a roof on this house by Wednesday. And I'll tell them, hey, you get me a shingle color and let's get this contract signed today. I'll make it happen.
I love it. So how important is your branding and your brand in your marketing strategy?
It is, I would say, the most important thing, because everything that we do directly revolves around our brand. And so it's not only us as a company, but it's all the guys individually too. And, it's something that I preach a lot. They probably get tired of me hearing it, but when you have a Perimeter Roofing shirt on, hat on, sweatshirt, anything, you're a direct reflect. You have it on your truck, you're a direct reflection of Perimeter Roofing. So how you behave, how you operate, how you treat people is a direct reflection of the company as a whole. So we instill that in everybody. We have our morals that we live by, and our codes in the office, and that's huge for us.
Yeah, I think that's super important. It's crazy sometimes when I'll see branded trucks out there and they're driving crazy. They're weaving in and out of traffic, right? They're giving people the finger. I'm like, how could you do that? That's a direct correlation to your brand. So it is good to hear that, you've got guys here with you and they understand, like, it's important when you wear your brand, right?
100%. Because that's what people remember.
Absolutely.
And we have our core values, and I have...
Talk to me about those.
So one thing that's super, it's a funny story, but one of the biggest realtors that we work with, her name is Tracy Kuzno. She's
out of where? Give her a plug.
Atlanta.
All right.
She's done work with Barbara Cochran. She's done work with all sorts of people. Super big name.
Yeah.
Super sweet too. One of my best friends. And so her assistant was driving, called us. So I met him. Called the office about somebody with a Perimeter Roofing on the back of their truck. Almost ran them off the road. I asked for a description of the truck. Knew who it was immediately. Fired them on the spot.
I love it.
She's given us every single roof that she has since then.
Now, let me tell you a converse story. So why this is so important to me, about 5 years ago, I had an HVAC company, right? Very prominent company where I live. The guy swerved over, flicked me off, slowed down, got behind me. I mean, it was road rage, right? Yeah. So I called the company and I said, hey, I just wanted to let you know about an experience I just had with one of your guys. And I described the guy and I told him where he was at. I said, so he's probably had a call or two over in this area, right? Do you have a guy that works for you like this? Here's what I think the license plate said. She's like, yeah. I said, here was the experience that I had. And they were like, oh, well, he's a good guy. He's been with us a long time. Maybe he was having a bad day. I said, let me tell you though, that was the only experience I ever had with your company. And I said,
I've been in this area all my life. I know quite a few people. I will never do business with you guys, and I'm going to tell 10 other people
Correct.
how poor that you handled this because you blew me off.
It only takes one bad decision, one bad day, one bad step to ruin everything that you've worked for. And that's what people don't realize that. They take things for granted and then they backpedal and I've had a bad day or I've had this, I've had that. You got to take accountability for yourself. If you can't be accountable to yourself, then you can't be accountable to anybody.
So does your team know that you're going to hold them accountable?
100%.
100%, right?
100%.
They're looking. So talk to me about your core values. Like you were talking about that. Like I'm excited to hear about them.
So a lot of the things that, one of the things is obviously discipline. I think discipline is huge in anything that you do in life.
Does that go back to your gym days?
Goes back to my gym days. I do a decent amount of public speaking. Every time I do public speaking, I always relate fitness somehow into it and how important discipline is. For me, I get up every morning, I do my cardio, I make all my meals every single morning. I have my meals with me in my bag over there. And I'm
brought your meals to win the storm. Todd.
I flew in yesterday, went to the gym, then couldn't find a grocery store. So I had groceries delivered to my house.
I love it.
And then made all my groceries and was up 3 hours later than I should have been.
Okay.
But still got everything in, got all my meals today. I'm still on track. I'll go to the gym when I leave here. But that discipline and that structure translate over everything that you do. And in business, you have to do the shit that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Because there's 6 out of 7 days a week, I don't want to get up early and do my cardio or make my meals. I'd much rather order something or this or that. But I know it's what I have to do to get to where I want to be and to reach my goals. And it's the same thing in business. So that's one that I think is super important. Another one that is crucial for me is empathy. We have, especially in a day and age of social media and Instagram, there's a lot of negativity in the world. And I don't ever want that negativity from somebody else to turn into a controversy with somebody in my team and headbutting on that makes us look stupid. It makes the other person look stupid too. And you just have to imply empathy and understand that, everything that they're doing, they're projecting it on you. And it's the same thing if you're dealing with a customer. If they're going through a rough situation or whatever it may be, or they're giving you some bullshit excuse of why they spent the money and can't pay you right now, like you can't take it personal.
You never know what somebody's going through, right? So I want to go back to the discipline because I really like that. Does your team see how disciplined you are? And do you think that drives them to be more disciplined?
Any one of these,
I see you looking at them.
Any one of these guys right now, especially this one right here with the hat on.
Yeah.
He can walk through the office and see me eating and tell me what meal I'm on.
Really? For the day?
For the day.
Chadwick. I like it.
Chadwick. Yep.
All right.
Any of them can. But
do you think that, so I love being disciplined in business, right? Because in order to serve the customer successfully, you have to have a disciplined customer service system.
100%.
Because they know you are, do you think that elevates their game too?
100%. Yep.
Talk to me about that. Give me an example of where you think you being so disciplined impacted a customer by them picking up their game. Is that a tough one?
No. I would say, I could do a couple different examples, but one, Chad has seen me I'll use Chad as an example. So
Chad's watching us, man, intently.
He's wondering what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
There's no telling what I
Chad,
can say
are you
about
nervous?
Chad. But, Chad, he one of the best people you ever meet in the world. And wears his heart on his sleeve, which is both good and bad. And when it's bad, the customer's done him wrong and he takes it personally.
Okay.
And so I've shown him how to be more accountable to yourself. And if you have certain situations that are occurring on a regular basis, not just from one customer, but from multiple customers, you have to understand that these 5 customers didn't all do this and plan on fucking you over.
Yeah.
You did something, not intently, but you did something that led them astray or misled them or whatever it may be. So you have to step back and figure out from an accountability aspect of what it is that you're doing and how you can fix that to prevent that from happening in the future.
Is he coachable?
Yes.
What I love is, people don't like to be coached in this day and age, right? Typically when you try to coach people, they say, well, let me tell you why I did what I did. I always tell people, look, I'm a golfer, right? And I like basketball. So let's use Michael Jordan, for instance, right? He had Phil Jackson. So could Phil Jackson shoot better jumpers than Michael Jordan?
No.
Could he drive? No. He
Neither
couldn't
could Tim Grover.
Neither could Tim Grover, right? But he could point out things in Michael Jordan, right, that could help him incrementally get better every day. So if you've got that, right, and you help enough people like him get what he wants.
And it's an accountability thing.
It is.
As well.
It is. I actually love that. So let's move on. And I see Chad's intently watching us right now. He's like, what are they saying about me? What are they doing?
It's all good.
I
It's
love
all
it,
good.
man. No, I love the fact that you guys are all a big family, right? And they look up to you. So that is a sign of a good leader, right? It shows, like you just talked about, having empathy.
But one of the biggest things, too, is we're a team. They all know we're a team. We're a family. We love each other. We take care of each other, no matter what is inside and outside of work. You'll never hear me say that these guys work for me. We work together.
I
We're
love
partners.
that. I love that.
That's everything that we do. We're a team.
We live in the I society, right? Where it's I, or me.
Yeah.
But what could you do without them?
I couldn't do nothing without them.
You probably could, but you couldn't go as far and as fast.
Or
without
on
your
vacation.
Team. Or on vacation, right? This isn't a vacation. We're working.
You got to be grinding nonstop if you're by yourself.
I love it. We always talk about what we do. We're always on the grind, right? Other people have hours and times they get back with customers. We love what we do, so we just do it all the time.
The other thing, just to kind of piggyback off what you just said, as far as, if it's just us, one thing that I see in business is so many people are scared to hand down knowledge to their sales guys or to their team or to whoever it may be, because they're so used to being the best. They're the number one guy. And being a true leader is not about leading a team. It's about how many other leaders you can create.
Absolutely.
And if I can create 10 people that are better than me, that doesn't mean I'm bad. I did my job. I did what I'm supposed to do. And so many people have so much pride that they can't let go of in the fact of just release the knowledge, teach these guys, spend time with them and let them reap the benefits. If you make them money, I promise you they're going to make you money.
Plus poor leaders think they will leave me.
Correct.
Right? And my thought's always been, well, what if they stay? Right?
You don't teach them everything. That's the famous quote.
There you go.
Yeah.
What if they stay and they're talking to your customers like you said. So let me ask you this. We talked a little bit about this. What do you think the biggest mistake that you've made in business and how did you overcome it?
I would say the biggest mistake that I have made would have been to grow too fast, not from a number standpoint or a salesperson standpoint, but as far as an expansion and being young and stupid and thinking that, hey, it's going to look super cool if I got an office in 8 states. And at the end of the day,
ego, right?
Yeah,
Ego.
Who gives a fuck? If you got, 1 state or 8 states, if you're making the same amount of money in 1 or in 8, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. So that's one thing that I had to take on the chin and kind of learn and step back and close some offices and said, this isn't the best route for us right now. Let's close this one. Start smaller. Let's get all these running like a well-oiled machine before we expand. And let's not expand so far. Let's take baby steps out.
You know why people love going to McDonald's?
It's simple.
It's the same every
time.
State that you go to, right? If you order number 1, whatever that is, Big Mac, fries, and a Coke, you're pretty much going to get the same thing because they've rinsed and repeat that process over and over. So I think that's huge that you're able to admit, hey, we just didn't do this well.
And that's one of the big, I've used that analogy hundreds of times, is that no matter what office you go to, no matter what sales guy you get, project manager, I want the experience to be the same logo, the same quality installation, the same service, the same everything, start to finish. And when we spread out too far and people are too out of reach for me to overlook on a daily basis, things went downhill.
Yeah.
And I can't allow that to happen because one market, we had a market in Texas. One market in Texas that started to go downhill due to poor leadership, and I wasn't able to come out here as frequent to, hold them accountable even more. It could have affected all the other markets as well because it's the same name.
Yeah.
So we had to close that one down.
Well, think about even in local markets. Like, let's say that Ryan gets a roof, right? And he's got a great experience with you guys. He's felt well from the time the salesperson came out, the project management piece of it, even to delivery of everything. And you guys have done a great job. But let's say that your processes aren't really good. And then he refers me over and I'm like, that's not the experience I had with Perimeter at all. So I think it's important, like you made a really good point, that not only from state to state, but even in your local market, you've got to give everyone the same experience, because you've got wrap trucks, I'm assuming, right? You've got yard signs. You've got realtor groups that you work with. Everyone is talking about the experience that they had with someone at your company. And if it's different from person to person, your branding is going to be bad. Your word of mouth is going to be bad.
And if it's good, they're telling one person. If it's bad, they're telling everybody.
At least 10, right? That's the statistics.
So that's a big thing for us, is to make sure that it's consistent across the board, and to make sure that everybody. One thing that helps me keep track of it a little bit is shout out to a buddy of mine, Kyle Reed in Apex, with Timberline Marketing. He has an automated system that integrates with our CRM system, and every single time a job hits a certain stage in our CRM system, it automatically sends them a thank you note for their business. Then once the job is closed out and paid in full, it sends them another automated response to leave a review.
Love it.
Then on top of that, in our office, we have somebody that nonstop writes handwritten thank you notes to every single customer and sends them out. Just because, coming from my grandmother, I think that's a
lost art.
Yep.
Like, I remember when I had to write out like 10 notes to clients before, I got a cramp, because who writes anymore?
Nobody
right?
does.
And do they write in cursive? Do they write in regular manuscript? Like, who knows? But I do think that's amazing. That would go back to when I asked you earlier, what are some things that you guys are doing differently? I think that's huge, man.
It's super huge.
I've always believed, I don't care what the product is, right? It just happens to be roofing, but people can live with a bad roof, but they can't live with bad service.
Nope.
Or communication, right?
Correct.
Man, I agree with you.
And even if the roof is perfect, or whatever product it may be, if you have bad service or bad communication, they're automatically going to think that the roof is garbage.
Yes.
Or whatever the product may be.
Because the homeowner, I'm a homeowner.
You start questioning things.
Well, I don't know if it's perfect or not, right?
Yep.
I just know if your communication was perfect, your customer service was perfect, and definitely your follow-up, right? So if I've got an issue, I've given you my money, but I've got an issue, I see something, a ridge cap came off or something like that, and you won't come back, or it takes you forever, I'm like, those guys got me.
Yeah. And you're 100% right. And the biggest thing, I see people all the time, and there's an issue, whatever. And obviously we have issues in our company. Everybody makes mistakes. It is what it is. And no roof is ever going to be perfect. But we'll have situations like that where a roof might have a leak. And I've seen it with other companies too. And so many people try to run from the problem. And I'm like, face the problem. And I'll literally tell sales guys, watch this. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to talk to them. And before I leave, I'm going to have them high-fiving me. No, you're not. They just cussed me out. Watch and see.
Watch.
And every single time I have them high-fiving me on camera, I get it on camera and send it to our group before I leave that house. So, and it's all about service and how you take care of them and making them feel comfortable that you got their back.
I try to tell our team, people will give you grace, right? If you go and tell the customer, like, hey, Todd, I'm really sorry. That was out of protocol, or that was out of our process. Will you give me a little bit of grace while I correct this for you? And people will say yes all day long.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One more question for you, because you've given us some really good advice, and man, I'm super excited that you noticed in the beginning, like, you had to change some things. You've regrown. You're in 5 different states, you told me? 6? 5?
Yep. 5, 12 different offices.
12 different offices. 5. Man, that's amazing. So last question would be, if I'm just starting out in the trades and roofing, what is some advice you could give some of the younger guys? Strictly
in roofing or in any industry?
Let's talk roofing.
Okay. Don't grow too fast. Learn as much as you can, and don't quit.
I love it.
The biggest thing that I can tell people is be patient. It's not going to happen overnight, but don't quit. You have and be ready to fail and learn from it and love it. You have to learn to love it. And every time I fail, I know that it's a shitty thing and whatever it is that happens, but I fail so often, but every time I fail, there's something I learn.
Yeah.
And it's something where I can correct the process or correct what I'm doing or somebody else may be doing. And if you don't fail, you're never going to learn. And you're not doing shit.
Back to the Michael. I love Michael Jordan. He's the GOAT.
I do too. I love Tim Grover.
There you go. He always says, I've succeeded because I've failed. I've failed 1,000 times more than I've ever succeeded. So you embrace that, right?
And that, I tell people, last speaking event that I did, I was talking to a group of entrepreneurs and we were talking about failures, and I was telling them, all these failures, you have to look at as things that you've learned. And I've failed way more businesses than I have that are successful, but nobody remembers them.
None.
And you have to put them out there. And one of the biggest things that I can relate it to is in the military. You know, you see these guys that have all these badges all over their chest, and I don't know what the fuck they mean, but I know that the more they have, they've been through some shit.
Yeah.
And that's how you have to relate it to. Like, the more failures, the more all these battle wounds, the more scars that you have, the more shit that you've been through, and it just moves you up in the ranks to be more and more successful.
I love it. So what's next for you in perimeter roofing?
So the biggest thing right now is growing Florida. We just opened Florida the towards the end of last year. So really just kicked it off the beginning of this year.
What part?
Sarasota and Orlando.
Okay.
Already sold a $10 million job. So we're off to the races there.
Love it.
But it's a completely different animal. So trying to get that underway, and then trying to hit 50 million.
I love it. I love it. Well, we will be interested to follow your journey. It's been really great getting to know you, talking with you. Want to thank again Tim Price, Perimeter Roofing. He has been a phenomenal guest today. And for all of you guys listening, if you could visit To The Point Home Services podcast, give us a review. We would love that. So again, Tim, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Todd Price.
Oh, Todd. Why do I keep saying Tim?
You can call me whatever you want.
Call me whatever. Well, you're too big for me to do that. I'm like a third of your size. I'm not going to do that. But appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you guys at the show.
I enjoyed
thanks for
it, man.
stopping by.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate it.